your second because your second might be even worse, and you might persuade me back to the first one. I don't know, but what was your fallback plan?
My fallback was to try to cover since the party is um pilot who's you talked about being handy with your blaster and flying the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got a bounty hunter, which is a fairly combaty character. And then a hired gun, which is pretty combaty. So I felt like at that point I was kind of sitting on colonist to try to cover every single other job.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, like I was thinking like, so I'm picturing something kind of like Han Solo, but I don't want to be Han Solo, obviously, right? But at the same time, I feel like that somebody in those kinds of situations, there's going to be a lot of crossover or overlap. So he's going to have certain qualities similar to Han Solo, fly a ship, be able to try to keep it together, and be decent with a blaster, and in some circumstances, be okay as, the interpersonal interaction sort of thing. Um, with that said, of course, I definitely don't want to step on any role that somebody else is really looking at as being theirs for obvious reasons, because that's just kind of so.
Um. Okay. Let me walk back a second. I guess let me put the question of Kane's first idea to the group. Okay, because for example, I gave my reasons why I would normally say no. I normally say if your first time playing for the group, let's keep it as raw as possible. But um, I guess my only concern was making sure that I know Darius wants to play a Force emergent character, whether having then another character there which is like a full Force user takes the special out of that character, for example.
Now, I
So
do want to say part of my concept,
yep,
because I was being aware of the setting, I am intending to start with no force powers.
yep.
Um, just because I envision the character is for things that may or may not come up, has chosen to pass on the force, and the class was just to represent the past experiences and is now hiding in the outer rim. So
So I put it to the group. Do we want to give Kane the option? Would you rather keep it pure Edge of the Empire?
Honestly, I am totally 50-50 on that one because I totally understand where you're coming from, James, but also I feel like I don't want to be the guy that yucks somebody's yum when it comes to their character concept. Um, honestly, I'm 50-50 either way. I know I had mentioned briefly some force curiosity, for lack of a better thing to call it, for my character, but if we end up with two player characters that are already involved with the force, then me throwing in my third would just kind of, I feel like, throws off the whole balance or the whole timbre of the group. So I don't have to explore the force. So at the end of the day, I guess I'm good either way. Is really where I'm at here, which is not a
I mean, look,
very
I've done a
committal
campaign
answer.
before. I've done a campaign which has started as Edge of the Empire and it's gone full on Force and Destiny a bit of the way in. Like everybody's wanted to explore the Force, and so I don't want to say like I don't want to take away when someone comes to me and say, hey, we want to play a D&D campaign and we're all playing wizards. I don't go, okay, no worries. Your first job is to go fight this big, physical threat. Yeah, I say, okay, let's how do we run a game for all wizards?
go deal with the
Um,
rats in the basement.
Here, take this magical item with you. It'll allow you to use your spell one additional time. You're gonna need it.
So,
But yeah,
Darius, any further comments?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Like Omar was saying, I don't want to, especially this, being a, like one shot. I don't want to, step on anybody's, character concept. I'm sure we can work around it. Just, yeah, I think it's good. We'll figure out. The only concern I had with that you brought up was Darius having, I think you said also a force sensitive character. But I think you already mentioned, Kane, that you were going to not have any force powers to begin with. So I think that kind of alleviates that concern of like overshadowing another force sensitive character. So I think, concept wise, I think we're okay.
I also thought about that, and I mean, with being a bounty hunter emergent is a very different kind of character. So there's not much there's not much like overlap or trying to do the same job type thing. Um, yeah, I mean, it's there's also going to be like the difference in skills and with the career, all the different role play opportunities. I mean, you get your bounty hunting license, you get all those types of jobs and those privileges and all that. So it'll be I feel like it'll be a very distinctly different flavor.
I mean, it also potentially creates an opportunity for why the group is or why at least those two characters are in the part of the group, because you've got a character who is discovering their abilities and a character who has previously been taught about but no longer, focuses on that. There's a reason why you always end up in a sub mentor type arrangement. Did anyone play here? Did anyone play Fallen Order? Jedi Fallen Order?
Oh, I might have tinkered with it, but I don't remember getting very far.
Yeah,
I may even have the
that's
wrong title
the
in
first
mind.
one. Yeah, I haven't played the second one.
Okay, no, it's saying that there's a character, I can't remember her name, but the woman that ends up becoming sort of like the semi-mentor who was once a Jedi but has left it all behind now, no longer uses the ability, sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I guess the other thing that, because it's Star Wars, does anyone have any thoughts about races, where they stand on, or species, whatever you want to call it?
You said that earlier about people all wanting to play aliens, or, everybody wants to play an elf or a dwarf or a freaking devil, tiefling or whatever. I'm the guy that sits there and be like, nah, I'm good with being a human, or in some cases an elf, maybe a dwarf, depending on my mood. I'm like very much vanilla in that regard, so I will be playing a human.
I will not be playing a human. Period.
Do you know what you want to play, Darius?
Are
Please say
there any races besides in the core book for Edge of the Empire?
Yeah. There's so every single splat book basically brought out 3 new races. So if there's a particular Star Wars race you like, I can take you through what its stats are in the game, whether that would then be something that you're interested in.
Let me just throw this one idea because I feel like being semi-trollish, semi-meme-ish here. A Trandoshan bounty hunter with force sensitivity. If there is a more scary combination of possibilities, please let me know.
That would be unique.
Darius, by all means, of course, play what you want, but with the way you're talking about your character, I'm just thinking this Trandoshan bounty hunter, dark Jedi type. He's not even a bounty hunter anymore. He's just a straight Sith assassin.
You'd be able to regrow your limbs.
Oh God, man, how useful would that be?
Well, hopefully not very often. Doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
No, I'm sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Darius. I'm stealing your limelight here.
No, it's okay. I didn't really like any of the races in the base book.
Yep.
The only race that I come close to liking is the Twi'leks.
Is there anything else from Star Wars that, like, if knowing Star Wars in general, is there any particular races in the setting that you like the look of?
Yes. There's the Maul concept.
So the Zabrak.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh yeah, fun.
They got a stat line for that.
And then the one that you probably won't let me play is an actual Sith.
Oh,
the
red skin,
the
true
Masasi or whatever they're called.
Well, the Masasi are like quite a bestial thing, but there's the red skin true Sith from the So I can tell you that there are no game stats for the true Sith, unfortunately. They haven't made them available in the FFG setting because they are not technically canon for Star Wars because they only appear in a computer game. So the license that FFG had, they weren't allowed to use content that was exclusively to like the Old Republic or the like.
They don't only appear in the computer game.
Where else are they?
They're also in the Book of Sith.
Yeah, and that's true. They're in some of the novels.
Oh, okay.
But in any case, the FFG never did stats for them. So, yeah,
the collector book.
Yeah, the one that came out of the thing which opened up. My sister got me that, so I've got it somewhere around. But so the what you could do, Star Wars also has a concept of near humans. So plenty of races are considered near human in that they are stat-wise a human, they just have a different appearance. So this includes things like Pantorans, for example. So you could play stat wise a human and have them be a red skinned Sith. There's just no specific game rules that say because they are true Sith they have the following special abilities or the following different stats.
Right. Whereas in the lore, they are much more attuned to the dark side and
Yeah, I
have
mean,
a bunch of special things that they can get access to if they have access to some of their ancient technologies.
so yeah, not many races in this. I mean, if I look at say Mirialans are a race which are traditionally tuned to the Force. They have no special Force abilities in the game. They sort of most races either give you free skills or some sort of special environmental ability. So if I look at, for example,
What does
Twi'leks.
the Javrak give?
Well, okay, so there's two things. There's the straight Zabrak, and there's also Dathomirians, because Dathomirians are a Zabrak offshoot. Like they're the ones from the planet Dathomir where you get the Night Sisters from. So Zabraks get +1 rank of survival and an automatic advantage on all coercion tests because they're considered to be they have a
Scary
fearsome
looking.
countenance. Yeah. Dathomirians, which are the ones specifically from Dathomir, have they begin with either they get +1 coercion and +1 survival, and they start with a rank of the outdoorsman talent, which means that they remove setback when they try to move through difficult terrain, and they decrease overland travel time because they're used to moving around outside.
Okay.
I think that Dathomirian one would probably work really well for a bounty. Well, I guess either one would do really well for a bounty hunter.
I think I'd prefer the Dathomirian.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. All right. And what about UFO?
Yeah, so I was looking at it. I think I have a pretty good rough concept of what I want to go with. I was looking at the hired gun and looking at some of the races. I don't want to do anything like too complex, but I was thinking about going with I'm probably going to say this wrong, but the Trandoshan, the
Yep.
lizardmen.
Trandoshan.
Trandoshan.
Yeah, like
And they're like
Boss.
the rivals to like the Wookiees.
Yeah, we don't need no stinking boots.
Yeah. Because at least the concept that I had was, being like, this hired gun mercenary, and from what I understand about their culture is that they're big on like hunts or whatever, or
Yeah.
like proving your worth or whatever to
Yep.
whatever religion they follow. So I was kind of thinking of that, and like each like job or whatever was a hunt. Like, completing a successful job is a successful hunt or whatever.
Yeah,
whether there actually is a hunt or whatever.
That they believe that throughout life they are trying to attain points.
Mm-hmm.
That their god, the scorekeeper, keeps track of all the points they earn from the enemies they defeat, and obviously the tougher the enemy, the more points, and the more points they've earned when they finally die, obviously dictates what their afterlife experience will be like. That's what the Trandoshans believe.
You need
Yep.
1,000 points to go to Trandoshan heaven. Any less than that, and you go to Trandoshan hell. I'm making that up. Don't listen to me.
The main problem with Trandoshans is if they are defeated, or especially if they're captured, as far as they believe that they lose all the points they've gained up until that point.
Yep.
They start again from scratch.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
That's really gotta mess with your psyche. No wonder it's so nasty.
So you happy with that idea?
Yeah, I'm kind of happy with the idea. I don't know. I'm sure we'll get to it when we talk about like specializations. That's the kind of like the one like part I'm not committed on, is whether I want to go with something. I'm looking to be like the tank of the party in some capacity, whether that's a melee tank or like a range tank or something. That's kind of like looking the role at least that I had for this character.
Okay, no worries. So I'll just quickly. I'm gonna. Hey, out of interest, Kane, where did you pull Consular from when you were putting the stuff into your character?
I went over to the compendium packs, and
Yep.
there's some stuff in here, but not even everything from Edge of the Empire.
Yeah, I
There's
mean,
a lot of
there's
holes in this.
yeah. Well, it's good. Only what I've been putting in main. I didn't think I put Consular in there though.
Fair
The
enough.
Consular was in there. Was okay, but I can't.
But there's no
As I,
there's no specializations for it. And even if I look
yeah,
at the
okay.
specializations, like hired gun only has demolitionist and marauder.
Yeah, because I've literally copied this compendium from my own from another game I'm running where I'd only put so
Oh.
far in what the group had so far had made or I'd used for NPCs, for example.
Okay.
But cool. So I'm just going to quickly. All right. So I put Trandoshan in here and put 1 point of perception for foe. So I think okay. So everyone's got their perception gone. All right. So I want to get you to just take off pilot there, Omar.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that one yet. Yeah. So we're
Okay.
going to remove pilot. Just focus on like the okay. So initially, now you've all got a species and a career. If you look at your character sheets, and if you're not familiar with Foundry, on the right-hand side at the top, you should see a little person icon that says actors when you mouse over it. If you go to actors, you should see your character, say like Fohammer character, Kane, etc. character.
Yep.
If you open that up, each of your characters should have so far a species and a career. And because of that, you've now got stats there: brawn, agility, intellect, cunning, willpower, presence, based upon your species, and a bunch of skills below that have ticks if they are a career skill. And some of you, because of your races, actually have some points. So, for example, Darius already has a point in coercion and a point in survival based upon his race. The next step is to spend 4 points into your career skills. So effectively, any skill you've got there that's got a tick is a career skill for your career. You can put up to you can put 1 point in any skill. They only get 2 points in a skill is to get it from both your career and from your specialization. So right now you can put 1 point into 4 of those tick skills. And you do that by changing the rank to 1. But it's got to be tick skills. So is anyone unclear about what any of these skills mean? Have a look through and I guess ask any questions you've got about what the skill actually does.
Well, athletics seems pretty straightforward. I guess they're both willpower, but what's the difference between discipline and vigilance?
That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm probably about 2 seconds behind you on that one. I was going to ask about skullduggery, but foes is first. How many points did I put in? 1, 2, 3.
So what was the question there? I just pulled some Wi-Fi.
It's looking for a description of discipline and vigilance.
Okay, no worries. So discipline is usually used against things like fear, for example. Anytime someone is trying to make you do something against your own will, discipline is usually what you would use to resist that. It could also be used to do things like to stand up to continual mental stress, push through basically. Vigilance is effectively your inability to be surprised, whereas perception is actively looking for something. Vigilance is more just noticing something that's happening.
So it's like your passive perception in a way.
Yeah, and it's important to initiative because anytime a combat starts that you're not ready for, you roll your initiative based upon your vigilance. Whereas if you are ready for it, you can choose between vigilance or cool.
And then is resilience something similar to like discipline and vigilance, but more of the physical side of it?
Yeah, that's right. So resisting like long-term physical stress, like working in the desert for a while. It also comes down to how fast you heal.
And then skullduggery, is that like basically backstreet shenanigan kind of stuff? Like
Yeah,
being a sneaky little git?
Yeah, it can include things like picking locks.
Okay.
It's your basic sort of rogue skill.
Okay. And then for me, I guess cool and coordination. I'm not entirely sure. Coordination, I imagine, is that a physical based skill, like a physical,
It is, yeah.
like my
So
physical
that would be,
dexterity kind of sort of thing.
yeah, so it's things like if you need to sort of like duck and dive through while running through terrain to try and carp what do you call it
No, a couple work. A couple work.
Yeah.
Ducking and dodging through the street without spilling my cup of soda.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What's the thing that all the kids do these days?
Parkour.
Parkour. That's it. To parkour your way through things. to do stuff that requires like really, really careful attention or something like maybe like something that requires very strict hand-eye coordination as well.
Okay. And then cool, I imagine that's just is that keeping calm in stressful situations sort of thing?
Yeah, not giving away your intentions. It's a
Okay.
social skill, so it usually once again is used to
Presence,
resist
yes.
other people's social skills.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I think otherwise, I think I can probably just kind of brute force.
Cool
rest of
is
the skills.
actually listed under general, not social.
What was it? Sorry.
Cool is actually listed under general, not social.
It is.
Yeah, because you rarely roll cool as an active thing. Cool is more of a resisting ability than one you would just naturally roll.
So if
Sometimes you do, but you can't walk in a room and roll cool at somebody. You're either trying to charm them, intimidate them, deceive them, lead them, or deal with them. You're not trying to cool them.
they would use cool to counter you walking in the room and saying, "Hey, one of you fuckers, give me a beer or whatever."
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm making shit up now. Okay. Oh, damn it. Keep trying to put 1 in there and it tries to give me 10. I'm like, no, that sounds cool, but no. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I think I'm set for this. Ooh, actually.
It said put 1 point into each of those, 4 of those
Yeah.
checked ones. The
Now,
career
I
skill.
think the exception might be Kane because you're playing a Force of
I only
Destiny
get
card.
3.
You only get 3. Yeah.
Damn it. I need at least 2 more points, James. What do I got to do? Don't answer that. I know the.
Well, so you these are not the only points you'll get. These are just the first points you'll get.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. This I will assume this is because I'm a smuggler. That's why I have this one. Because every now and again I have to pull a fast one on the legal people. I think I'm set. Not to rush anybody. By the way, on a totally unrelated note, I totally did not fail to hit the record button when we started. It did not start recording until after like 20 minutes in. That didn't happen. Absolutely did not happen. So the people watching the YouTube video are not going to catch any of that intro shit.
So we missed the intro.
We missed the
We're gonna
intro,
have to have
and so I think it starts. I think I realized it, and I think I hit the record buttons probably in. I may have timed it to at least go in between sentences, so I'm doing the reverse soprano thing.
Nice.
Yep. Hey, it's that grade A quality streamer
I've got
stuff
my
you get
skill
here.
points.
Okay, Darius is done. Foe, you done?
Yep, I'm done.
Okay, cool. All right, everyone's done that. Okay, so the next thing we need to add in is your specialty. So, Foe, you were looking at doing Marauder, I believe?
Yeah, that's the melee specialization, right?
It is. It has got a lot more melee ability, I will say, yes.
Okay.
It also, not just for melee, but it also gives you the most amount of damage reduction, and it makes your critical hits, whether they're melee or not, hit a lot harder.
It's very tanky.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty much set on that being my specialization then.
All right. So, and then now this is where we add in pilot for Smuggler. So, Darius, have you had a look through the bounty hunter specializations to see if there's one that you like the look of?
Assassin.
Okay, easy. And we know we're doing Sage for Kane, which we'll have to add in.
All I heard
after
from
the fact.
Darius was, "No, he's coming in dead. There is no or alive."
Okay. So this we look. So for a Sage, that'll add your career skills. For that will be astrogation, charm, cool, and
lore.
Knowledge, lore. Okay, cool. So, now what those specializations have done is they've given you some more career skills. 4 more career skills for each specialization, basically. Now you get to put 2 more skill points in, but only to the skills that your specialization added. So let me start with you, Foe, from Marauder. Marauder added coercion, melee, resilience, and survival. Okay. So you can put 2 points into 2, or 1 point into 2 of those 4. If it's one you already had, So, say for example, you got resilience from your career. If
Yeah.
you wanted to, you could take a second point now of resilience because it's also a specialization skill.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know that's a coercion, melee, resilience, survival. Yep.
Okay. And how many can I add a point to?
Two.
Two of those?
Two. Yeah. Okay. So for you, Omar.
Yep.
Pilot adds in astrogation, gunnery, piloting planetary, piloting space.
Well, we're definitely gonna.
And
What,
this came up. This has come up a few times with groups I've started. The
Uh-huh.
difference between piloting planetary, and piloting space.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
is the is it just literally
Planetary
flying
is-
atmospheric?
No,
Basically-
planetary is cars and jetpacks.
Okay.
Yeah, speeders, etc. So if you're flying a spaceship in atmosphere, it's still piloting
Okay.
space.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're piloting a land speeder in space, you're dead.
Most
So,
likely, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Darius, the 4 skills added by assassin are melee, ranged heavy, skullduggery, and stealth. So you get to add those two points to those.
What is skullduggery?
Skullduggery is your basic thief skill. So picking locks, sleight of hand, pickpocketing,
What is range heavy cover?
blaster rifles. So anything carbine or heavier. So ranged light includes anything up to and including heavy blaster pistols. Once you go to a two-handed weapon like a carbine, that's where it's ranged heavy.
Okay, so sniper rifles would be range heavy.
Definitely. The biggest rifles can actually push up into gunnery, like an E-Web, for example, is actually gunnery skill because it's more of a crew serve weapon. But your standard sniper rifle would be heavy.
So yes, there is a path to Jesse Ventura in this game.
The Gatling gun. I love that
Yeah.
thing. Just don't be the guy that sits there to calm yourself by dry shaving.
But they even put a Gatling blaster on the cover of the Hired Guns Black Book.
Oh, that's amazing.
It looks glorious, even if it makes no sense.
Speaking of things that make no sense, I'm looking at. I just randomly did a quick search for like Star Wars Smuggler AI art generator, and the first image that comes up is this dude that looks like he's holding a gun backwards and upside down, but the way he's holding it seems to be the serviceable way to hold it. So I'm just like, well, not only can they not get hands right, they can't get guns right. And that will promptly kick me out of doing any AI art search. Oh my god.
So let me know when you've all done those 2 points.
I'm good.
Yep, I've got mine. I guess the only this is a question, for you, James, more of a GM question. I see, not being familiar with the system, I'm kind of
Yep.
like, and I'm purposely doing this, kind of like diversifying my points. Should I be like specializing more, or does it really not matter for the purposes of this game that we're doing?
No, I don't think. I think that either option is just as viable. Because the thing
Okay.
is, like, you've either got 1 point in 2 skills, or you've got 2 point in 1 skill, because you can't go higher than 2 points of character creation anyway. So
Yeah.
like there's not much opportunity to deep dive on the skill side. You'll get that when you get to the talents.
Okay.
So
got it.
yeah. All right, Kane and Darius, have you done your 2 extra points?
I'm good.
I've done mine.
Okay. Here's where it gets a little bit complicated. Because the next step is basically so all characters start with a certain number of experience points. And it's based upon your race. So humans start with 110. Dathomirians, I think, start with 90. No, 100. Dathomirians start with 90. Arcanians. It was Arcanian you wanted to play, was that right? Sorry,
Yeah.
Kane? Yeah. They start with 100. And Trandashans start with 90. Let me check. Trandashans start with 90. Yeah. So there are 3
Pay for
things.
Dathomirian?
Sorry, 100
What
for
did you say?
Dathomirian. 100.
100. Okay.
Yeah. So 110 for Omar, 100 for Kane and Darius, and 90 for Foe.
Because he's
So
got that
there are
thick hide.
There are 3 things you can spend experience points on. All right. First one is characteristics. Okay, so your characteristics are determined initially by your race. So you can see here that foe has 3 brawn, 1 agility, 2 intellect, 2 cunning, 2 willpower, 2 presence. Generally, humans or near humans are 2 across the board, and other races are 1, 3, and 1, 1. But there's some more variation as well. So to increase an attribute or characteristic costs the level you're going to times 10. So to go from 2 to 3 would cost 30 XP. To go from 3 to 4 then would cost 40 XP. And it's cumulative. So going from 2 to 4 would be 70 total.
Okay.
So 2 is the baseline human average. So someone who is less than 2 is, somehow incapacitated or very weak in that particular area. 3 or above is exceptional. Now, I'll go through all this first, but my recommendation when it comes to creating characters is spend as much XP as you can on characteristics, and then whatever you have left over, spend on the other things, because after character creation, you can never spend XP on characteristics again. The only way to get characteristics up in the future is to complete a talent tree. So every time you complete a talent tree, there's a special talent called dedication, which gets you +1 in an attribute. So I would always recommend spend as much XP as you can on characteristics now and everything else later. Sorry, question there, Kane? Or comment?
I think it was Darius. I could be wrong.
Darius, sorry.
Yep. So getting that universal specialization to go into emergent costs
so that's
20, right?
That's the next thing I'm going to talk about. So you can also spend XP to buy additional talent trees. So you all get 1 free talent tree with your specialization, but you can buy additional ones. And the cost to add an additional talent tree is 10 times the number of talent trees you will have after you buy this one. So you start with 1 for free. Buying, for example, Force Sensitive Emergent will cost you 20 XP to add that talent tree to your character. If you were to add a third one later on, that would then cost 30. If the talent tree you're adding is a talent tree from a different career to yours, like say a bounty hunter wanted to add the doctor specialization, which is from colonist, it costs an additional 10 XP on top. But universals like Force Sensitive Emergent, for example, and they're never considered cross-class. So what I'll do is I'll go and add the Force Sensitive Emergent to Darius' sheet, and that just means that 20 of your XP is already spent then, Darius.
Right.
So you got 80 left. And then go ahead.
What do I get with that?
Well, all it gives you initially is 1 force rating, but it gives you the full talent tree as well, and the ability now to buy force powers. So, when I said 3, there's more than 3 things, because the next thing I was going to say is skills. So you can increase skills with XP. Once again, no skill can be above level 2 during character creation. The cost to put a skill up costs the rank you're going to times 5. So the first point's 5, second point's 10, third point's 15, etc. If the skill is not a class skill or a career skill, it costs 5 on top of that. So to buy the first point in a skill it's not a career skill, it's 10 points. To buy the second point, it'd be 15, third point would be 20, etc. Finally, on your sheet where you see your specializations, if you click on the specialization name, it should pop up with a talent tree. And the talent trees start at the very top with 5-point talents. So when you buy a talent, you have to buy one in the top row, and then you can buy any talent which is on the top row or is connected via a black line to a talent you've already got. So you're basically working your way down the tree. So they're the things to spend. So characteristics, skills, talents, and if you want to, also you can then buy specializations. And if you are force sensitive, you can then buy force powers.
So we have a few minutes to figure out how to spend all our points, is what I'm getting here.
Yeah, and I guess this is where you're going to have probably the most questions to ask.
Yeah, probably.
Now, do you want to talk about adding obligation, since it might change people's math?
That's an excellent point. Excellent point. Thank you very much. I forgot this in my last group too. So, as I mentioned before, every character starts off with an amount of obligation. For 4 PCs, I'm pretty sure that amount is 10. Just double check that.
Yep.
Sounds right.
Okay.
20, 15, then 10.
Yeah. So what it means is that you all have an obligation characteristic, be it debt, criminal, whatever, equal to 10. At the start of every game, I add up every person's obligation. So if you were all were at 10, then there'd be a 40% chance. I roll a percentage dice. If it's below that number, somebody's obligation is triggered, which is a detriment to that person, severely, or not severely, but significantly, and a minor detriment to everybody else. The idea being that for whatever reason, whatever's hanging over your character's head is causing you some degree of stress. And the fact that you're stressed is also making your friend stressed. So
I've seen this before in an alien game
yeah.
I may or may not be running.
That's right, exactly. And the way that stress translates is it reduces your strain threshold. Strain is like stress, so you take less strain before you pass out from just being completely mentally overwhelmed. Now, at character creation, there are two things you can do. You can choose to take 5 more obligation to either get 5 more XP or 500 more starting credits, because everyone starts with 500 by default, which is not much. That's enough for like a gun, a piece of armor, and maybe like a stim pack and a communicator. If you want to have sort of more unusual gear, it's pretty hard to buy it with just a starting 500. Or you can spend 10. You can take 10 additional obligation to either get 10 bonus XP, or 1,000 bonus credits, or 5 XP and 500 credits.
How many
So-
credits do we normally start with?
500.
Which can
So
get
you
you
start
a
with
light
1,000 if we did half and half.
Yes.
I mean, every person can make their own decision. But say for example, you all took 10 bonus obligation. Now your group's obligation is going to be 80%. So it's a much higher chance every game that someone's obligation will trigger.
Yeah.
There's the trade-off.
Yeah. And
How much do you want to derail your own session by
you
having your
can-
obligation come up?
you can, through like significant effort, try to reduce or change your obligations or add more, but you will always have at least 5.
Okay, so you
No
could,
matter how
so,
hard you try, you will have obligations.
So, like, if you start with a debt, even if you paid it off, some other thing will come up to keep you at least 5.
Yeah, it might be the case of saying like, they go, oh well, sorry, you've forgotten interest.
Exactly,
Or,
exactly. Or you skip
or it
several
could change
payments.
to something else.
Yeah,
You could change something else. We could say that the way you got that money pissed off somebody else. They've lost out now, so you've now got an enemy rather than a debt.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And how are we going to determine these obligations? Are we going to randomly do them, or?
I mean, you get to choose. You can roll randomly if you can't decide, but you otherwise do get to choose.
Okay. And are we doing that before spending all these points? Is that the easier
Well,
way
I
to
mean,
do
as I
it?
said, like I guess you're going to have an obligation regardless.
Right.
How bad it is up to you now. And that being said, you can have multiple obligations. So even if you start with 10, if you take 10 more, you might have 10 in debt and 10 in criminal, for example, or
Right.
just 20 in one.
Okay. Well, I think I will. All right. So with 5 extra obligation, that gives me either 500 credits or
5 XP.
or 5 XP. Well, money sounds good. So I think I'll take on some form of extra obligation, have a little extra money in my pocket.
Okay, but that won't affect your XP, so you can spend your XP now as normal.
Right.
And one more time, what was the EXP cost for increasing skills?
The rank you're going to times 5.
Okay.
Plus an additional 5 if it's not a career skill.
Got it.
All right.
Just with the sheets on Foundry, by the way, make sure you grab the bottom right-hand corner of the sheet and pull it right down, because Brawl and Xenology tend to fall off the bottom of the sheet even when you scroll it until you pull the whole thing down.
Oh yeah, I see that. The combat skills.
Yeah.
It's wild. I can't even get. It might be the resolution of my screen. It's unfortunate. That is quite unfortunate. I can't get it to fit. Hold on. There's a way to make my browser full screen, isn't it? Like Alt Enter or something.
F11 normally in most browsers.
Yes. There we go. And still, damn it, not enough. Because I pull it all the way down, and it still doesn't quite give me that last little bit. Oh, I see brawl, and I see the tops of the letters for the word xenology.
Okay, well they're the bottom. They're the bottom two. So
Yeah. Now, James, how does one update their characteristics? Oh, I guess just type on it.
Type on it. That's it.
Yep. Okay. Apologies for my lack of insight there. Let's see. What do I want to do? Let's.
So, Foe, I would definitely encourage you to consider raising your agility from 1 to 2 because agility 1 makes you absolutely shocking with a firearm.
And not in a good way.
Yeah. As in accidentally shoot and kill yourself on the first mission.
Wow, that meme keeps coming up, especially when James is around. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking at that. I have 90 points, correct?
90 points, yes.
Yeah, because based on my calculation, I was looking at one because I didn't want to leave agility to 1, but I was looking at increasing brawn and willpower because those are my 2 that a lot of my skills are tied to, and I think that comes out to 90.
40, that would be exactly 90, yeah. Be 40, 30, 20, yep.
Okay.
Which is that's not a bad choice because at the end of the day, everything else you can then buy with XP after the fact.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to do that then. So brawn is then increased to 4, willpower is increased to 3, and agility is increased to 2.
Yeah.
Oops.
So I'm no longer shockingly bad with fire.
So he says. All right. Hills are. But I wonder.
How much again does it take to raise a characteristic from 2 to 3?
30 points.
Oof. That's a lot.
I guess it doesn't matter now because I don't have any experience points left over, but I was looking at the talent tree, I think it's called, for the Marauder.
Yep.
What's the difference between there's like ones that are highlighted in red and ones that are just like regular gray?
Yep, greys are passives, active all the time. Yeah, reds are active, have to be activated to be used.
Okay, got it. Yep. I see now. Yep.
All right, I think I have spent all of my points, and I hope I did it right. And you said 500 is the standard starting for credits?
Yep.
So I have 1,000. Where does obligation go on here?
It's under biography, and then you should see obligation down the bottom. You click on the word obligation.
Oh, yep, I see it.
Yep, and then you got to add an obligation with the plus button, and then type in what the obligation is, and its magnitude will be 10 by default or 15 if you put it up.
15 for mine, yeah.
Yep.
And then is there a button I can click to randomly determine one in here, or I just literally type in roll something?
Yeah, just do /roll 1 to 100. I'll tell you what it is on the chart if you're not sure.
If you could. I mean, I have the book open, but...
Yeah.
It looks like 79. Oh, dear. I don't remember looking that far down the table.
79, where's obligations? Is... Oath. The character has sworn some sort of oath that dictates his thoughts and actions, shaping his moral view of the world. This could be an oath to a deity, a way of living such as the Jedi Code, or a willingness to sacrifice for the betterment of some group or cause. Whatever the case, this oath should be both serious and make life difficult in some ways for the character. It's a personal and deep undertaking, possibly without a truly obtainable goal in sight.
A James, I'm gonna pitch an idea at you, and you tell me if
Yep.
this works or not, or if I need to adjust it. You're familiar with Firefly, correct?
Yes.
You can't keep the sky from me, or something like that. I believe is the song.
Yep.
If my oath, what I'm thinking is, can I apply some sort of oath to either the ship, or just my ability to always have, not necessarily a way out, but an always have a secured mode of transportation interstellar wise.
Yeah. I mean, what in that case, when the thing triggers, it's more about the either you actively losing that or having the fear of losing that.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, does that work? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yep.
Okay. So I'm gonna literally type that in. Oh, you can't keep the sky from me, and hopefully that'll make sense if it ever comes up in conversation. Because I definitely feel like I realize I've kind of pinged on Han Solo a lot, but I definitely feel like there's a certain amount of Malcolm. What is his name? Malcolm Reynolds. Is that his name?
Yeah, Malcolm Reynolds.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's a certain amount of Malcolm Reynolds going to be getting channeled into this guy.
Or maybe rather than Malcolm Reynolds, the actual pilot.
Wash.
Wash.
You know, I hear you. I feel like
Nothing
I
could
think-
go wrong with playing Wash.
nothing ever.
He's a leaf on the wind.
He's exactly a leaf on the wind right now. Actually, he might be the wind, but I actually that's not a bad idea. I feel like this would be Wash, but having Malcolm Reynolds' ideology. He's the pilot that all he wants to do is fly and get out there and see things, do things, and don't you dare try to trap him or contain him or restrain him. I think maybe it's more that it's the freedom of maneuver that has him so hellbound on this. Does that make sense? Like if you try to restrain him in any way, he gets really antsy really fast. I think I am caught up, James. I've spent my XP. I have my obligation. I will probably have Oathbreakers attempting to find me. the Oathbreaker or the oh god, what is it? The Paladins have to deal with.
The Oathbreaker Paladin in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. You violated your oath.
Yeah, breaking your oath.
I did that. I didn't
It
even
kinda
realize I
reminds me of-
And then the next time I'm back at camp, I'm like, well, that's the end of the game.
Sorry, Fo?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet, but I know the Oathbreaker paladins, but I was kind of thinking like you've broken your oath. It kind of reminds me of the what was it the vegan police from Scott Pilgrim.
I've never
You've
seen it.
that.
I haven't seen it, but just the words
There's,
vegan
like,
police.
This guy has like vegan powers, but he has to be a vegan, and he eats like chicken parmesan. He's like, chicken parmesan's not vegan. No vegan diet, no vegan powers. We all have to have an obligation, right?
That's
Yeah.
correct, yes.
Okay, so I was looking at the table, and I'm trying to think of something that would fit well with my character in the background, especially with the scorekeeper. Would that be something more under like duty bound or responsibility? You mentioned that getting captured or something like that basically that resets the score. I'm sure there's other ways that it could be reset too. But
No, really speaking, probably like oath is the most common thing because that revolves around something like for a deity, specifically. But
Okay.
duty bound could also be one too. I mean, at the end of the day, the word isn't as important as the fact that you're across what it means to you and your character.
Okay.
So if you go like duty bound, you could have some sort of duty to your clan or your particular temple or whatever passes for a temple as far as the scorekeeper is concerned. You could have some sort of duty that you have to every so often you have to be back for this ritual or that thing or something like that. Just trying to throw an idea that may or may not work for you, based on what I know of your character so far.
And just to be clear, not rolling your obligation at the start of a session does not guarantee you won't be affected by it that session. You just won't take stress from it. But if someone's trying to kill you and I don't roll your thing and they still have to try and kill you, don't complain. But you didn't roll my thing.
It wasn't my obligation. It was Fohammer's obligation. Why am I the one being shot here? I'm definitely gonna use that line at some point. Oh, Fo, you thought I was done? You thought I wouldn't troll you here too? Come on now.
Yeah.
Okay, I spent all my XP.
Yep. So you need an obligation too, Darius?
Enemy.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm an assassin. Of course I've made enemies.
That absolutely checks out. And it'd be even more funny if it was a Mandalorian enemy.
I mean, usually it's someone more powerful than you, because it's someone like, if it's just somebody you go, oh, it's just this guy who's the same as me, I'll just kill him and I'm done with it.
Yeah.
It's someone that has resources and that that you can't just directly confront them.
It's Jabba. It's always Jabba.
Yeah.
Right. It's like some person who has the ability to hire people to do his dirty work.
Yeah, like Darth Vader or the Emperor. James, you said earlier.
Hopefully not that powerful.
Hopefully not, because that really fuck up your day. James, you said the setting, the time is just before the Battle of Hoth.
Yes.
Okay. So I wonder how much we would know about the Death Star, Scarif, Jedha.
Well, I mean, even the destruction of the Death Star was known about pretty quickly. With most of the, I mean, the Rebel Alliance only did a good job to make sure that everybody was aware of what the Empire tried to do. So people know that the Empire destroyed Alderaan with a super weapon.
That was the other plan I couldn't think of.
Yeah, which was then destroyed by the Rebel Alliance.
Right.
Force power.
Yes. So
how do I get access to those?
So they're also bought with XP. Like, for example, if you spent your XP now, that means that you can buy force powers with your first XP that comes up. Force powers are like extra mini talent trees. You've got to spend an amount of XP to buy the base power, and their powers like things like move things telekinetically. They're ones that let you heal, ones that let you use force lightning, for example. Each one is its own force power, its own mini talent tree, and the more XP you invest into the talent, the more powerful you get with that power. So if you just buy the base move power, you can move a small object the size of a lightsaber, the distance the size of a Wampa cave, for example. But as you put more XP into it, now you can suddenly start moving starships that are in orbit with it, basically. But yeah, you've got to buy those initial force powers and then invest.
Okay, how much does it buy to?
Yeah, every time you buy into a power, it's 15 XP.
Yeah,
just to get access to it.
Yeah, to get the base power. Yeah. So the suggestion would be that if you spent your XP now, that's fine, because you start off without.
I just straight up 15.
15. Okay, cool. So then, I'll need to see your list of the force powers. Some of them have prerequisites, so not everyone. You can't just take Unleash, which is Force Lightning, straight away. You need at least a Force rating of 3 for that. But I'll send you a list of force powers, and you can choose the one that you want to start with, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. I need to go pick up my son from his friend's house soon. So characters are now built, with the exception of buying gear.
Okay.
So I'm happy to sort of send out, like, I have a simplified gear list.
Question.
Yes.
When spending XP on the skills.
Yep.
We limited to class skills?
No, you can buy skills that aren't class skills. They cost 5 more XP than they would otherwise.
Yeah.
Everything that isn't part of your class is just more expensive to get, but available.
Okay.
James, you were talking about gear. You have a simplified list that you're going to send out, I believe you said.
Yeah, like, once again, there's gear in every single splat book.
Yeah.
But I simplify it down to, like, this is the most common items. Like, for example, there's at least 15 different specific models of blaster pistol, or you can just take blaster pistol as an
Yeah.
item.
Yeah.
So the main, it comes down to the legality of the gear, its availability, and its price. But yeah, I have like my usual recommendation is at least have a weapon. If you want armor, then have like some like heavy clothing or padded armor as the most basic armor. I recommend everyone have a comlink, and everyone have at least one stim pack, because stim pack is basically how you get back wounds if you haven't got a doctor or medical character around.
Is that your
if
basic like first aid
anybody's-
kit sort of deal?
And if anybody's concerned, I own a med pack. I'm going to buy
Yes.
stim packs. I'm planning to be the doctor-y type character.
Yeah, so a med pack is like what you use for medical aid. A stim pack is like an adrenaline shot, which anybody can just administer themselves, which gives them instantly heals 5 wounds the
okay.
first time you use it. But they have the more you use them in a day, the less effective they are. They have diminishing returns.
Right.
You can't just keep upping up on adrenaline.
Yes, because eventually your kidneys will freeze or fry or whatever.
Yep.
All right. With that, do we need to end, or you still have a few minutes yet, or?
Well, so let me just quickly touch on. Let me just explain what the numbers you've done there actually mean. Like you'll see on your character sheet, all those little yellow and green symbols, for example, and blue in some cases. So effectively, the dice mechanic in this game is narrative story dice. Green, yellow, blue dice are good. Purple, red, black dice are bad. And for your benefit, for example, Omar, if you look on your sheet on your skills, you'll see, say, with piloting space, you've got a black dice there with a red line through it. So what that means is you've got an ability where when I would normally give you a black dice on that roll, you can remove one black dice. So when there's a red line through it, it means removes a dice rather than adds
So
a dice
that's
in.
not.
Yeah.
So that black with the red line isn't necessarily an extra die. It's just I can remove negative.
Remove a bad dice.
Okay.
Yeah. So green dice are the most common. Green dice just represent your raw ability, and they're based on your characteristic. So if you're trying to brawl somebody and your brawn is 2, you've got 2 blue dice. Simple as that. Yellow dice are skill dice, basically. The more trained you are in something, the more yellow dice you get. So for every point of a skill you've got, you convert 1 green dice to a yellow dice. So if you've got 3 in an attribute and you have 1 in the skill training, you would have 1 yellow and 2 green because of that. And once again, the program does all the working out to work out what that would be. Blue dice are incidental bonuses. They usually come from assistance, from the right gear, favorable circumstances. They're called boost dice. And all 3 of those dice have 2 common symbols. They have successes and they have advantage. Successes, the more successes you get, you succeed. In some cases, the number of successes matter. Sometimes it doesn't. But as long as you have a net number of successes, you have succeeded in what you set out to do. Advantage are things that are above and beyond what you set out to do. So, I want to shoot this guy. Okay, I shoot him and I hit, but I also get lots of advantage. That advantage might it might push him out of cover. It might shoot his weapon out of his hand. It can do any number of things, and we'll go through what they mean when we actually get to start playing. But you're rolling to get as much success and advantage as possible.
Okay.
The yellow dice, and owning the yellow dice, also has something called triumph. Triumph is the best possible result. You can fail to succeed in a roll, but still get a triumph. And a triumph is something that amazingly good happens in narrative. So an example might be you're in a loading bay shooting at stormtroopers. A bunch of stormtroopers come up on an elevator. You shoot at them. You miss them, but you roll a triumph. So we'll say, okay, you hit the controls of the elevator and it just goes down again and takes all of them with it. So you've just removed that whole squad from the combat without hitting anybody because you got a triumph, basically.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so then there's the other side of the dice. It's the bad dice: purple, red, and black. So purple dice are your base difficulty. The harder something is to do, the more purple dice you have to roll. And the standard will be 2 purple dice. It's a standard, regular, challenging difficulty. Red dice are like the opposite of skill dice. They come in whenever there is something which is adding real danger to the situation. The person you're working against is highly skilled in something. You're shooting into combat and you might hit your friend. You're working on disarming an explosive which could go off if you fail it, basically. That upgrades purple dice to red dice. And then black dice are, once again, things that are incidentally tough. So you're working in the dark. You're working with an injury. Things that are just hindering your ability to do whatever you're trying to do. And they have 2 common symbols. They have failures. and failures obviously cancel out successes. So if you rolled 5 successes and 3 failures, you've got 2 successes. As long as you've got at least 1 success after failures removed, you succeeded. If you've got less than 1, 0 or fewer, the number of failures don't matter. The moment you're at 0, you did not achieve what you set out to do, no matter how much advantage or triumph you roll. So if you're shooting at somebody and you did not succeed, no matter what the outcome is, you cannot hit and damage that person with your weapon. But your advantage and triumph can still do other good things. You've got threat, which is the opposite of advantage. So threat cancels out advantage. If you have net threat, so you've got more threat than advantage, that translates to bad outcomes. They can't make you fail if you succeeded, but they can certainly add additional complications. So I'm trying to stealth my way across a yard where there's guards. I roll a really good stealth result, but I roll lots of threat. So no matter what, the guards did not see you. You managed to stealth past them, but maybe you dropped something important on the ground on the way through.
The guards didn't see you, but the Inquisitor, who just happened to look out the window, did.
Yeah, so something else bad happens because of it, basically. And then only red dice can have despair. And despair is like the opposite of triumph. Despair and triumph don't cancel each other out. So you can have despair and triumph in a roll. And so despair is things really bad happening. Your gun runs out of ammo. You hit your friend.
Sorry, folks.
Those sorts of things. So to do an example also, so we've just had a roll there from who rolled that? That
was Darius.
That was Darius. He rolled a yellow and a green with a blue versus 2 purple. His check succeeded because he got 2 net successes, no net threat or advantage. So that was a successful roll. There are ways we'll go through in the game where you can add more dice. You want to roll more good dice and less bad dice is what you're aiming to do. And we'll go through in the game how you actually achieve doing those things as well. Okay. I find that there are 3 steps to learning the system. All right. The first one is recognizing the symbols and knowing what they mean. So saying, okay, I got 3 net successes, I got 2 net threat. The advantage of Foundry is that Foundry does it for you. Foundry cancels everything out and tells you on the result what the net result is.
Right.
So you can see on Darius' roll there, he actually got 3 advantage, 1 on the yellow, 2 on the blue, but he also got 3 threat on the purple, which is why it didn't show any advantage or threat. So the first step, if you were rolling actual dice, is learning what's what and what cancels out. The second is learning all the common uses for advantage and threat. So knowing that if I get 1 threat, I can give the next person to act in combat a blue dice. Advantage. If I get 2 advantage, I can take a free maneuver or give a specific ally a bonus blue dice as such. There's charts that you'll learn and you'll go, okay, I want to disarm this person. I know I need 4 advantage to do that. And then the third step of learning the game is really going beyond the charts and actually, instead of saying, okay, well, I got X much threat means I can do this, it's going, hey, GM, because I got this threat, how about this? And it's really as a game of trying to do yes and, basically.
Yeah, trying to come up with your own interpretations and telling of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, I'm still at step 1, trying to figure out what all this shit means.
Yeah, that's fine. But that's the intro to it, and you'll see as we start to play, how the game works out, basically. But
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard is that after a little while, it's a fairly, not necessarily, I don't know if intuitive is the right word, but it's easy to pick up after a number of rolls. You'll start figuring out what everything means.
And I think only a couple of you have used Foundry before, so there'll also be a little bit of learning curve around figuring out when we start combat, like how to target, that sort of thing. But we'll get there.
Yeah, I don't know if the Alien Foundry module has a targeting type thing, but I'm just like, ping the guy you want to shoot, and I'll figure it out from there.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to let you guys go because I need to then go and pick up my son.
Okay.
But I think sounds like we're good for. Well, we can chat online, but I think if we're good for next weekend, that'd be great.
I think we're good. If not, if anything comes up, obviously people will spread the word.
Send me that list.
Yeah, I'll send you the list of force powers, and I'll send the group the list of gear. It will be like in half an hour though, so maybe you look for it in the morning because I know it's late for you guys there as well.
Yeah,
so I got to pick up my son. Cool.
All right, well, James, I really appreciate you running this, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how long we can keep a game going. I mean, the next session.
Yep.
Just as long as somebody remembers to hit the record button.
I don't know what you're talking about. That never happens. Never. I always hit the record. Listen, just like a wizard arriving precisely when he means to. So untrue. Unfortunate. All right. Well, James, if you got to blow, go ahead and get out of here. If you got any outro or final comments, I guess now would be the time.
Oh, come check me out on YouTube. It's Grimdark Podcast or at Grimdark Podcast on YouTube. Otherwise, I hang out on Omar's Discord and the AP Gaming Rule Discord channel, where you can also find Omar playing Imperial Maledictum with me tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to.
And Kane too.
Really looking forward to finding out more about these buggy things that we're gonna have to deal with.
That's it. Can I get a thumbs up from Kane?
That's gonna be his thing. I love how his thumb blurred out. Darius, any final comments from you, my friend, for this evening?
Not in particular.
All right, Bowhammer.
I'm Fohammer. Yeah, you can check me out on Omar's Mega Mech show, and you can also find me on James's show over on AP Gaming Real Discord doing Blood Bowl. So that's it.
I'll hit you up at times. Bro.
Yeah. Kane, anything from you? If not, just a thumbs up will do. I got a double.
Thumbs.
Yeah.
Double thumbs.
Beat that, James. I got a double thumbs up. All right, my friends, we are going to get out of here. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you forget that I did not hit the recording button until too late. There will be more content of this, though. We have at least a couple more sessions. And like I said earlier, kind of jokingly, somewhat semi-seriously, we're going to try to twist James's arm a little bit. But of course, he's a wiry kind of guy, and he'll just turn around and bop me in the face. So got to be careful how far I push it. In the meantime, stay safe out there, my friends. This world is a crazy dark place, so make sure you're doing what you got to do to take care of you and yours. And as for me and mine, we're out of here. Have a good one, my friends.